Tara, and I love you. I love you. Welcome to The Average Drinker. I'm Dara, and I'm your average drinker. And this week, it's all about the peated scotch. I'm talking Lagavulin 16. Wait a second. This is not Lagavulin. But this is Lagavulin. And this is Lagavulin. And that's what I'm talking about right here on The Average Drinker. Lagavulin, diving into the world of peated scotch. And if you didn't catch that reference right there, it was all about Nick Offerman. And if you haven't seen the video, I'll post it in the comments. Hilarious guy. Anyhow, I'm going to compare Lagavulin Distillers Edition to Lagavulin 16. It's the quintessential Lagavulin, just like the Lafroig 10. Good stuff, great stuff. Actually both of them come in at 86 proof. And even cooler, they're from Islay. Yeah, it's Islay. And I will say this, when I first got into the world of whiskey, I thought Islay was Islay. I mean, it is Islay. It looks like Islay, but no. It's Islay, and that's what I'm testing out this week. So in the past, I've been doing bourbons. Now, it's time to dive into the world of scotch. Alright, so some people out there might think I'm a little bit cuckoo for thinking peated scotch is amazing, especially as a newbie in the world of whiskey, which I totally am. But I will say this, the first time I tried peated scotch, I actually loved it. It brought me back to my childhood. It brought me back to Missouri where I grew up, like campfires, bonfires, roasting marshmallows, hanging out with my family, and back to the woods where I love to go hunting. That's one thing you might not know about me, but you're learning now. I love hunting. I love backpacking and hiking. So anyway, enough of that. This time I'm going to start with the Lagavulin 16 and see what I think of it, and then I'll compare it to the Distillers Edition and we'll go from there. Alright, so right off the bat, I will say that the Lagavulin 16 is actually a little bit lighter in color, I think, than the Distillers Edition. They're both from Islay, like I said. So I'm going to smell this one to tell you what I think. On the nose, you do get that normal peat smell, but it's also like a sweet peat, like a tart cherry vanilla note right on the nose. And actually, wow, that's a really strong vanilla note. It's hard to say that's like a super peaty scotch. I'm going to give it a sip. Wow. Right off the bat, obviously you do get that campfire peaty taste, but then it rolls into this really sweet vanilla, tart cherry, light burn on the back end, but not like a normal burn that you would get from a higher proof drink. This is like 83 proof. It's really light, really sweet. A little bit of complexity to it, like not that like smack you in the face peat. It's more of that smooth, light peat, vanilla, tart cherry. Super good. I love this. This is really, really good. Alright, now I'm going to try this Lagavulin Distillers Edition. And Alright, now I'm going to try the Lagavulin Distillers Edition. And the difference between this one and the 16-year is the Distillers Edition is actually finished in a sherry cask. So this was distilled in 2001, bottled in 2017, and it is batch 4 of 506. So just a little bit different, not a lot. I want to check out these colors again because I do think that this Distillers is just a smidge darker than the 16. See what it smells like. On the nose, it's actually a little more complex than the 16. I do get a little bit of that sherry, vanilla, maybe a smidge of tobacco. Not quite as harsh on the peat. It's like a very light peat. Give it a taste. Oh, that is so delicious. And by delicious, I mean it's sweet on the front end, a little bit of orange peel, maybe some dark fruits. The back end, you get that peat, but not a harsh peat, like a very light peat. But on the front end, you do get that sherry note. It tastes so good. It tastes so good. Oh yeah. Sherry, peat, tart cherry maybe, but like a darker tart cherry that's been like charred or something on a campfire. That's exactly what that tastes like actually. A charred cherry on a campfire. This is very, very good. So I think what I will do is taste these back through a second time and compare them again, because it seems like, for me anyway, that the more I taste these, the second time around, my taste changed just a little bit. They get a little more air in them. They open up just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a second try. Okay, really? Sometimes I feel like I have to dance when I do these videos. It's like the camera's on me, so I gotta do something. Okay, so anyhow, I'm gonna try these a second time through. Back to this one. This is the Lagavulin 16. I swear I'm not crazy. And this time, this one actually smells a little more peaty on the front end. Not quite as sweet. Not nearly as much flavor as the Distillers. Let's give it a taste. Taste-wise, I'm still getting, it's just a really light peat. I mean like so light, especially compared to this one in the sherry cask. I would say that that actually takes this up a notch. Like that makes this Distillers Edition so much better to me. In my opinion, I know this is the quintessential Lagavulin. It tastes really good, but the second nose of it, it's not nearly as much flavor and complexity. I mean, you still get that vanilla, a little bit of the tart cherry, but on this one, I'm going to give it a second try. Hold on. So much more peat up front. And then it follows through with this very sherry charred cherry. Sherry charred cherry. Try to say that 5 times fast. Sherry charred cherry. Yeah. No, it's really good. A little more complexity, like I said, compared to the Lagavulin 16 year. Alright, so if you want to know what I really think of these two Lagavulins, they're awesome, and I would highly suggest them to anyone. They're so good, so delicate, so full of peat, light on the proof, so they're easy to drink. They're delicious. They have a lot of flavor. The only one that actually wins out for me is the Distillers Edition, because it's finished in that sherry cask, and for me, that's so enjoyable, and it gives it that extra complexity that is so delicious. So, you might be thinking, can I get a bottle of these? Well, yes, you can. In most places, you can actually find the Lagavulin 16, actually pretty much everywhere. The Distillers is a little tougher to find. They'll both run you about $90 to $120. The Distillers is a little more expensive. Alright, so if you're trying to introduce a friend to the world of peated scotch, it's gonna be a slow process. Unless you're crazy like me, of course, because I am pretty freaking crazy, and I just happen to have a boyfriend with an amazing peated scotch collection. If you guys didn't notice, there's a bottle of Octomore up there. There's some Ardbegs and Lafroigs. You cannot see the Ardbegs, but there are a lot of them. Go check out my Instagram to look at those. So yeah, I would say it's a slow process, but it's for some people, it might not be for others. For me, I love it, and again, it's fucking awesome. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave me a comment, tell me what you think of peated scotch, because you may like it, you may not, but be sure to tune in to The Average Drinker because there's so much more to tell you about. And maybe drop a hint at what you think you might like to watch on my channel.